My name is Tim Olson. I'm a professional engineer. I'm actually a civil engineer by trade, but I focus on stormwater management. So I'm a water resources engineer, and I deal primarily with flood protection, environmental protection, protecting water quality in our lakes and streams. I have three children. They're all boys. They love to be outside. We have a great time. And so, throwing the Frisbee or playing soccer or going golfing with them, being out and connecting to nature. Those are all things that we love to do. And it's only natural then that, that I'm there out trying to protect those things too. As a child, I really love to draw. That was something I loved to do. I realized in high school that I wasn't very good at it. And so I always wanted to be an architect. I mean, that was really where I thought I was going to go, designing houses or designing buildings and looking at aesthetics and, those unique lines and all of that kind of stuff was something that really intrigued me. But I found out that I wasn't very good at art, but I was really good at math. And I love science. And so I started to look more at civil engineering and along the lines of architecture, wanted to become a structural engineer. So I wanted to not just design the outside of the building, but rather the internal workings of the building, understanding the science behind what makes a structure, build bridges to make sure that they were safe for people to pass over water. And as I got into college, one of the motivations for me through high school was to kind of leave the nest, and go to a place that was all mine. And so I traveled from the Twin Cities area where I grew up of Minnesota out to Rapid City, South Dakota, and went to a small engineering school called South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. There was only, a few thousand of us that went to that school, and it was really dedicated to all things engineering. And started my civil engineering course load, started looking at structural engineering and realized that wasn't for me either. And so I started taking more water resources engineering classes and realized that was where my passion lied, and I always knew in my heart that I was going to make it back to Minnesota someday. Minnesota is, dubbed the land of 10,000 lakes. We probably have more like 15,000 lakes. And so I knew that there was always going to be, a wealth of work to do in Minnesota, in the state that I love. And so coming back here and doing water quality improvement projects and flood control projects in a lot of the neighborhoods and areas of the state that I grew up has been just a very rewarding for my career. One of my favorite parts about being a water resources engineer is that every day is really a brand new day. There are so many problems and issues that require solving in water resources, natural resources, environmental protection. In the springtime, when we have really intense rainfall, sometimes those communities will have never seen a rain event that large. And when they do experience that, 8 inches in a day or 10 inches in a day, they see flooding problems that they never knew they had. There's this adage in engineering that you have to be, maybe this is just generally speaking, but you have to be out of school as long as you were in school to really feel like an expert. And in civil engineering, we have to have 4 years of experience before we can become professionals. Lo and behold, you're in college more often than not for about 4 years, 4.5 years. And so those two things really correlate. And, you don't really quite realize it until you're done that all of this foundational work that started back in elementary school when I was learning about the water cycle, that was going to be a foundation for what I do now. So in the Midwest, we have 4 distinct seasons. Each one of them has a different type of climate that surrounds them. And so as civil engineers in the Midwest, we're really faced with 4 distinct seasons and problems that are associated with it. And so during each one of those 4 seasons, we have these individual sort of tasks and problems that we're trying to solve and adapt, and then also get ready for the next year when those seasons begin to change again. Civil engineering, the first word is civil, and our connection as engineers to the public in civil engineering is really, really important. And so, as communities are planning for big infrastructure projects, or, we see changes in rainfall pattern and we experience flooding, the pandemic doesn't necessarily impact that. We have to continue to build these projects and improve communities and increase, the health and safety of the public through these projects, no matter what's happening globally. And so we find ways to adapt and still remain in service to those communities.